Small teams often make one of two mistakes with AI governance. They either do almost nothing because governance feels too complex, or they copy a large enterprise framework that creates more paperwork than control. Neither approach works. A small organization does not need a large AI governance department to begin. It needs a practical starter kit that creates visibility, ownership, proportionate decisions, and evidence. In this video, we will show how to structure that starter kit so a small team can begin with simple tools and mature over time. The first part is a clear operating model. Before creating templates, decide who does what. Every AI use case should have a business owner who remains accountable for its purpose, expected benefits, and business application. The operating model should also identify which specialist functions may need to contribute. Depending on the use case, that may include IT, information security, data protection, legal, compliance, procurement, data governance, or risk management. A small team does not need every function involved in every decision. It needs clear escalation rules, so lower-risk use cases can move quickly, and higher-risk use cases receive the right level of review. The second part is an AI use case register. This is the central inventory for the governance process. It records where AI is being used, what the business purpose is, who owns the use case, which provider or model is involved, what data is used, and what the current status is. The register should also show whether a use case is being explored, is under review, has been approved, is in operation, or has been retired. For a small organization, this can begin in Excel or Microsoft lists. The objective is not to build a perfect database. The objective is to create one reliable source of truth. The third part is an initial risk screening. The screening helps the organization decide how much governance a use case needs. It should be short enough to complete early, before significant time or money is spent. Useful questions include: does the use case affect employees, customers, patients, applicants, or other individuals? Does it process personal, confidential, or sensitive information? Does it influence an important decision? How much human oversight is available? Could an incorrect output create financial, legal, operational, safety, or reputational harm? The result should place the use case into a simple category, such as lower, medium, or higher risk. That category then determines the next steps. The fourth part is a review and approval workflow. A practical workflow connects the register and risk screening with an actual decision. The process may begin with registration, followed by completeness checks, initial screening, specialist reviews where required, a governance decision, and documented conditions for approval. The workflow should answer three questions clearly. What information must be provided? Who reviews it? And who is allowed to approve it? Small teams should avoid a process in which every use case requires a meeting with every stakeholder. Instead, use a lightweight route for lower-risk use cases and an escalated route for higher-risk cases. The fifth part is a decision and evidence record. AI governance decisions should not disappear into email threads or informal conversations. For each use case, record the decision, decision maker, date, main risks, required controls, and any conditions that must be met. This creates traceability and allows the organization to explain why a use case was approved, restricted, paused, or rejected. The amount of evidence should remain proportionate. A low-risk productivity tool may need only a basic record. A higher-impact use case may require assessment results, testing evidence, vendor information, known limitations, human oversight requirements, and formal approval. The sixth part is monitoring and incident management. Approval is not the end of the process. The starter kit should define what needs to be monitored, who reviews the results, how often the review occurs, and what events require action. Monitoring may include performance problems, complaints, human overrides, unusual outputs, provider changes, or changes in data or business processes. Employees should also know where to report an AI-related problem. The incident process should explain who assesses severity, when a use case must be paused, and how corrective actions are tracked. Finally, the starter kit needs an implementation checklist. Templates alone do not create governance. The checklist should guide the team through confirming roles, agreeing risk categories, configuring the register, defining approval responsibilities, setting review frequencies, communicating employee guidance, and testing the workflow with real use cases. The best starting point is not to launch everything at once. Choose one active AI use case, register it, assign an owner, complete the initial screening, run it through the approval workflow, record the decision, and define how it will be monitored. This pilot will reveal where the process is unclear, which fields are unnecessary, and where additional guidance is needed. Then improve the starter kit before scaling it across the organization. A practical AI governance starter kit therefore contains 6 connected elements: a clear operating model, a use case register, an initial risk screening, a review and approval workflow, a decision and evidence record, and monitoring, incident management, and implementation guidance. The value does not come from the number of documents. It comes from connecting those documents into one workable process. Small teams do not need to copy the governance structure of a global enterprise. They need a model that is simple enough to use, strong enough to create accountability, and flexible enough to mature as AI use grows. If you need a ready-to-use starting point, practical AI governance templates and implementation toolkits are available through the first link in the description.